If you struggle with blood sugar spikes after meals, this evidence-based approach may help reduce glucose peaks by up to 44% when used alongside proper medical care. What I'm about to share comes from recent clinical studies published in peer-reviewed journals, and it might completely change how you think about eating. Does this sound familiar? You finish a meal feeling satisfied, but within an hour you're experiencing energy crashes, unexpected hunger, or that sluggish feeling that makes you want to take a nap. If you've experienced these symptoms after eating, you're in the right place. Comment spike below so I know you're following along, because what we're discussing today affects millions of people worldwide. The number one mistake that causes dramatic blood sugar spikes after meals isn't about what you eat, it's about the order you eat it in. Research indicates that most people eat their carbohydrates first, and this simple sequence error can increase glucose spikes by more than 40% compared to eating foods in the optimal order. Here's what clinical evidence shows happens in your body. When you eat carbohydrates first, they rapidly enter your bloodstream with minimal interference. Your digestive system processes them quickly, causing that familiar glucose roller coaster. But studies demonstrate that when you eat protein and vegetables before carbohydrates, something remarkable occurs. The protein and fiber create what researchers call a metabolic break. Published research from Weill Cornell Medical College found that eating protein and vegetables before carbohydrates resulted in glucose spikes that were 28.6% lower at 30 minutes, 36.7% lower at 60 minutes, and 16.8% lower at 2 hours after eating. A landmark study published in Diabetes Care in 2024 used continuous glucose monitoring to validate these findings in real-world conditions. Participants who ate carbohydrates last showed 44% lower glucose peaks and spent 6.2% more time in healthy glucose ranges compared to those eating carbohydrates first. If this information is making sense and you want more evidence-based health content like this, hit that subscribe button. I share new research-backed approaches to natural health support every week, always designed to work alongside proper medical care. The mechanism behind this effect involves multiple pathways that researchers have now clearly identified. When protein and healthy fats reach your digestive system first, they trigger the release of hormones called incretins, particularly GLP-1. These hormones signal your body to slow gastric emptying, which means food moves more gradually from your stomach to your small intestine. This slower transit time allows for more controlled glucose absorption. Instead of that rapid spike you experience when carbohydrates hit an empty digestive system, the glucose enters your bloodstream in a measured, sustainable way that your body can process more effectively. Medical studies suggest this approach may help support healthy insulin sensitivity over time. When your body doesn't have to manage dramatic glucose swings, your insulin response can function more efficiently. This is particularly important because research shows that post-meal glucose spikes may be better predictors of cardiovascular health than fasting glucose levels. The cardiovascular implications extend beyond blood sugar management. Clinical analysis reveals that each 18 mg per deciliter increase in post-meal glucose elevates cardiovascular risk by 27%, even in people without diabetes. Evidence suggests that targeting postprandial glucose, the medical term for after-meal blood sugar, may provide superior long-term health benefits. You're halfway through this video, and if you're finding this helpful, let me know with a quick comment. Now, here's where most people make the biggest mistake that cancels out everything we've discussed. They try to implement this approach perfectly from day one, which often leads to digestive discomfort and abandoning the strategy entirely. Scientific evidence supports a gradual implementation approach. Start with food sequencing at one meal daily, typically dinner since it's often the largest meal. Begin your meal with a generous portion of non-starchy vegetables like leafy greens, broccoli, bell peppers, or cucumbers. These provide fiber and nutrients while beginning the metabolic preparation process. Follow the vegetables with your protein source. Research indicates that 20 to 25 grams of protein per meal supports optimal metabolic function. This could be fish, poultry, lean meat, eggs, legumes, or plant-based protein sources depending on your dietary preferences and any medical recommendations. Wait approximately 10 to 15 minutes if possible, then consume your carbohydrate portion. Clinical studies show this timing allows the initial foods to begin triggering the incretin response that will moderate glucose absorption from the carbohydrates. Recent research has identified additional factors that influence post-meal glucose response. Meal timing plays a crucial role, with evidence showing that our glucose processing ability follows circadian rhythms. Studies demonstrate that the same meal eaten in the evening produces higher glucose spikes than when consumed earlier in the day. Timing also provides significant benefits. Research published in Sports Medicine found that post-meal physical activity is superior to pre-meal exercise for glucose management. Even a 10-minute walk initiated 20 to 30 minutes after eating can improve glucose clearance by 12%. Hydration status affects glucose concentration as well. Clinical analysis shows that even mild dehydration can elevate blood glucose levels and impair insulin sensitivity. Ensuring adequate hydration throughout the day supports optimal glucose metabolism. Sleep quality represents another crucial factor. Research indicates that just one night of poor sleep can reduce glucose processing ability by 40% and make insulin 40% less effective. This emphasizes the importance of comprehensive lifestyle approaches to metabolic health. The Mediterranean dietary pattern has shown particular promise in clinical trials for glucose management. This approach emphasizes the food sequencing principles we've discussed while providing anti-inflammatory compounds that may support long-term metabolic health. Advanced strategies include using continuous glucose monitors to identify personal response patterns. Over-the-counter devices now allow healthy individuals to see exactly how different foods and timing strategies affect their glucose levels. Research reveals significant individual variability in food responses, making personalized approaches increasingly valuable. Some people show dramatic spikes after bananas, but minimal response to sweet potatoes, while others demonstrate opposite patterns. This personalization represents the future of evidence-based nutrition, moving beyond one-size-fits-all recommendations to individualized approaches based on biological response. Comment ready if you're going to try this food sequencing approach. Remember to start gradually and always work with your healthcare provider when making significant dietary changes, especially if you're taking any glucose-lowering medications. Implementation becomes easier when you prepare your environment for success. Keep pre-cut vegetables readily available. Plan your protein sources in advance. And consider the timing of your largest meals earlier in the day when glucose processing is naturally more efficient. In my next video, I'll reveal the 3 specific foods that clinical research shows can amplify these glucose stabilizing effects when added to the beginning of your meals. These natural compounds work synergistically with the food sequencing approach to provide even greater metabolic benefits. The scientific evidence supporting food sequencing for glucose management continues to strengthen with each new study. What started as preliminary research has evolved into validated protocols with effects comparable to pharmaceutical interventions, but achieved through simple changes in eating patterns. This content is for educational purposes only. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your treatment. Individual results may vary, and this information is designed to complement, not replace, professional medical care.